So in this video, I want to talk about High School DxD Volume 9, and not just talking about the volume itself, but also talking a little bit about the anime itself, which is High School DxD Hero, as there are a couple of things that I kind of want to talk about when comparing to the light novel to the anime. But overall, the journey itself is... well, it's what I expect from High School DxD. I always enjoy the story, I always enjoy the world building, but particularly one of the things that I always like about High School DxD, and it's very prevalent in this volume, is the growth that Issei goes through. Sure, the core aspect of him being that, the grab and dragon kind of thing, is always there. That's the appeal to the series as a whole. That's his whole charm. Even the other people in the sort of the realm where he goes to try and communicate with the others that have used the booster gear, they're kind of, none of them have ever gone down the route that he's gone down, and he's learning to finally embrace it and make it his own power, which creates unique opportunities for him to do things like, example, summon Rias into a major battle and press those melons and gain a massive power up. And the thing is, though, when you compare to like the sort of the hints of the history of the past dragon users, they all kind of were either like corrupted by the power itself, or died off early, or struggled with it. Like, it always kind of seemed like the path that they went was a lot more darker, while Issei's is kind of molded into something else where it's a lot more light-hearted, which is why in itself I think a lot of those individuals are kind of saying, yeah, embrace it the way that you want to embrace it, because the other option isn't particularly the great option that others have gone down. At least that's how I interpret it. But also the relationship as well that he is having with his classmates, those in his club. He's, as much as a lot of the girls still see him outside of the club, the normal girl, like the normal human girls, they kind of look at him a little bit, with the little dirty eyes and all that, because of how he is building friendships, and a lot of people are treating him a lot more better. But I think it's also because he's now getting social skills to be able to communicate with other people, not just about grab and drag and stuff, but also other stuff as well. The only downside, and this is why I said I'd talk about High School DxD Heroes Season 4, is that depending on how you consume the anime, if you watch it subbed, you have no problems. If you consume it in dubbed, there are more puns in that than you can count. Like, there are so many puns. There's like a pod challenge pun in there, or a reference in there, and sometimes it can make me kind of smile a little bit when listening to it, because I just kind of wanted to listen, just remember what some of the dub voice acting was like. But some of it's also to a point where it feels too forced as well. So it was something that I wanted to note for those that look at the anime to the light novels itself, because this volume covers episodes 1 through 6 of the light novels itself with this particular volume. So that's one of the downsides, is that, yeah, subbed itself, it's all great, you can enjoy it for what it is, but as soon as you get into the dubbed, that's where things start to deteriorate. You've also got the early parts of the story itself, where Rias is giving Issei a kiss. It's not the first time he's received a kiss from her, but it feels a lot more like they're actually in a relationship now, that there's a lot more going on between them, which is good, because you see throughout the volumes their relationship is actually moving forward. It's not just like the one kiss, like every now and again, like in a blue moon kind of thing. And when I'm talking like a blue moon, I'm like 20 volumes kind of mindset, because I know some people say, well, it kind of is, but not to me. When you look at other romance animes, sometimes it can take like a ridiculous amount of time before even any progress really happens. And so it's kind of fun to see High School DxD actually show that, hey, you can make steps forward. Even if it's just with Rias, you've also got him in a closet with 3 other girls, and they're all trying to basically have baby making sessions. That's the thing that I love about High School DxD. You're not meant to take it serious. It's just it's just there to be fun. And that's what I love about it, especially when you've got a certain angel sitting there using herself as like a lamp, light globe, like glowing the room, so that a certain individual, Zenobia, is sitting there going, okay, well, we'll experiment first, and then Argia can have the second round, and then Argia wakes up and she wants the first round, and then the teacher walks in, and that's just the thing that I love about High School DxD. It's those moments, those little comedic moments that actually are good. I don't need cheesy puns in my dub which again, I know some people say watch the sub, but again, I want to compare the two because I think it's important to, because again, some people do consume the dub, and I just feel like it's fair to be critical of those kinds of things. Like High School DxD in itself is funny because of the silly stuff that goes on, like Issei actually summoning Rias on the spot to poker gigolos to then get a massive power up to take on the opponent. He gains this power at that very moment of desperate need. It kind of feels like one of those Shonen animes, which it kind of is when you really think about it. But that's the thing. High School DxD in its most core aspect is good with that alone. It doesn't need cheesy puns, in my opinion. And I'm sure some people will disagree, but that is just how I feel as far as the story goes. You've also got Rias kind of being a little bit like upset, a little bit jealous, a little bit missing Issei because he's gone off and he's doing his own thing. But you also see that now he's on his own, he's actually trying to rise up to new challenges, not just in power itself, but also leadership as well, which shows that he himself could potentially be a king later on down the road, because he could end up building his own harem, have his own little group, and be able to stand side by side as equals with Rias. And that's what I like. I really like the way they've gone about that, because it's Issei building not just social skills, but also his powers, but also his leadership skills as well. It's just different layers. It's not just, oh, he's only gaining more powers in the grab and drag, and no, he's getting other components to the story. And that's the thing about High School DxD, is it is a massive package of multitude of different layers to it, or strings, or however you want to word it. That's what makes it a complete package to me, is the fact that it adds on to each other. And then of course you've got the hero faction. You learn a lot more about the hero faction, and the fact that Issei, however you want to pronounce his name, I've seen people pronounce it in multiple different ways, at least 3 to 4, but either way, he's got his own little group of loyal individuals that are very loyal to him. Like, they're willing to die for him, go up and beyond to assist him in his overall objectives. And then of course he is also serving another individual, which is a certain other different individual that wants to take out the Big Red in the dimensional gap. So everyone has their own individual goals. And see, that's the thing that it goes back to as well. Volley was kind of seen as the big bad villain back then, but then you find out that he's kind of more just someone else with his own individual goals, but the real villains are kind of the hero faction, which even Volley doesn't particularly get along with. And they've even said, you know, don't get in my way, but they're actually, at least the way I perceive it, is that they are stronger than Volley, the hero faction. At least it's how I've interpreted it, and maybe I've interpreted it wrong, so definitely tell me in the comment section. But he even, just the level of power in there, it feels like he is stronger. But I mean, that guy's got a really powerful weapon. They're doing some really experimental, crazy stuff. They've got a strong team behind them. So that's the thing. There's multiple different factions, all moving their own pieces, all got their own objectives, and they all have their own long-term and short-term goals that they want to achieve. And so it's up to the team itself to overcome these individual goals. And the last thing I want to talk on is the fact that what I also really like is the fact that they don't have to have everyone there. If you split the group in half, the other characters can stand strong on their own. It's not like if you have like a group and only 20% or 30% or even 50% of them are the main characters, and the others just feel like side characters. Say like in other types of harems where you have like multitude of girls chasing one guy, and if they're like on their own, they just feel like bland crackers. But with High School DxD, every single girl can stand on their own. They have their own personalities, their own fun quirks to them. And there are many other animes that do that as well. I mean, recently I've just been watching 100 Girlfriends, the anime, and it does a similar thing. Each individual girl has its own quirk, and it can stand on their own, and it's interesting in their own outright. And that is what I think really kind of stood out to me in Volume 9 of High School DxD, is just that. But overall, the story is pretty straightforward. They go on a trip, they go to their little school excursion, they find a fox girl, her mum's kidnapped, they need to rescue the mum, and the hero faction's stolen her, and that's where Issei comes in. He's all been smug, he's been a douche. Then you've also got a certain little wizard girl pops up. I'm sure we will see her again at some point in the volume. She, of course, is serving Volley's group. I think really the end part is the best part, is where Issei does the summoning, summons Rias in, he thinks everything's done and dust. They're kind of mocking him, the hero faction, ha ha ha, you're weak, you couldn't beat us, we beat all your friends, they're lying on the ground, we got what we wanted, we're going to open the dimensional gate. But then that's when Issei pulls out that sort of ace in the hole and kind of slam hits, but it's still not quite enough, and that's when he gets assistance from someone else that can then keep it kind of even footing. So I think it's great volume. I'd love to know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Of course, if you like this video, hit the like, subscribe, and I'll see you beautiful nerds in the next video.